Hello everyone, just let me put this into place. I need to get this silly image out of the way. Just 1 second, and we will be joining you. God, I wanted to show this image to everyone before we start, which is our new render of the new car that is going to be the price car for next Tri Series. The Bentley Hunandrius or something like that. I can't remember it all too well. But anyway, let me put this on, and here we are. Here is the magnificent three of us, all of us. And welcome to the live stream, guys. Dimitri here, so I'll just let a few seconds so that the image shows correctly on the screen for everyone. There's about a 10-15 seconds gap, so I cannot exactly see what is happening. But yes, this is the new Bentley, which is going to be our Tri Series prize car. But we can chat about it later. Where's Johnny? Johnny just disappeared. Oh, there he is. Okay. Can you not see me as well? Well, that's strange. There we go. Yes. You should guys see me now as well in a second. Okay, chat. Hello, Russian. What? Can you guys hear John and Tim as well? Can you let me know in the chat? This should be fixed now.
About 30 seconds late last night.
Yeah, let's give a few seconds for.
What? We hear Dimitri only, says somebody. Oh.
They should be able to.
Now I can't hear Dimitri.
No.
This seems so smooth the first few times. I was like, this is solved. Apparently it's not.
Anything now? Hello? Nothing now. That's
Dimitri,
strange.
can you hear us?
There we go. Is that any better now?
You're on mute in this call? Oh, yeah. Anyone? Turn up the volume. Tim is audible. Yes.
And John?
I don't know. I never know what to say at this point. But I'm looking for. There's nothing special that I've done.
No, I think there is. Well, they're saying that they cannot hear you, which is strange, but they can hear Tim, which is also strange. Okay, so we're gonna start now. I'm gonna be a little bit louder than usual, just because of that. But let's go back into the full screen, and you guys let us know if it changes. Okay, we're getting a thumbs up that everything's working fine now. So yes, yeah, a little bit of problems at the beginning, but it happens. So welcome back to the Q&As. We were taking the sort of live stream format these days, and it seems to be working quite well because we're able to answer a little bit more questions than usual. So if previously we would only be able to to answer maybe 5-6, then now we can. Last time I think we've answered over 15 altogether. So I think it serves a good purpose. Although of course there will be a problem where we don't. There are just questions that are repeating themselves, but we want to come back to them occasionally. But how are you guys doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. Although hopefully I can be heard. Yeah, not too bad. Just getting on with things really. It's quite busy. Very busy. There's a lot going on at Hutch. But it's all. I guess it's good stuff.
Yeah, the same. Oh, my internet's not very good though. It drops out for a few seconds every half an hour. You'll see some of that. That happened to me just now. Dang. All right. Anyway, yeah. Lots going on. I mean, we don't talk about it much, but there was this whole thing where Hutch was bought by MTG. And we're like, nothing's going to change. We carry on doing what we're doing. But the advantage is we get to talk to them and the other companies they own and learn from them or use their tools. So we can, do what we do better, more efficiently. So just kicking off those discussions, very interesting to see what they're up to. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. I think it's only beginning, really. I even had some people approach me as well from your suggestion, Tim, about a few things. So it's quite interesting what we can learn from each other, of course. That's definitely interesting. So, monthly Q&A means that we announce it on our forums a few days before the live stream begins. I was actually off Monday and Tuesday, so I couldn't announce it earlier than that, but we've had over 100 responses since yesterday, so very, very good questions in there. So we've picked, it was actually a difficult choice. We've picked a bunch of questions, had to shuffle them around a little bit, but in the end we have a choice of the main 5 as usual, which will get the carbon fiber pack. We've got your Hutch IDs, so I will, if your question is picked, then I will reach out to you via KT Play in a messaging feature. So and I will obviously send you the carbon fiber pack. And then we have 5 main questions, and we have a bunch of questions that I have also collected but are sort of secondary. And then if you guys have any questions, you should also ask them in the comments on YouTube and Facebook, as we will be keeping our eyes on both of those. So if we are ready, then we should start with the first question, which comes from user NUX, Nux. And the question is about the roadmap for 2021. So will there be a roadmap for what's coming in 2021? It's definitely a question that has been asked many times, but we actually answered it a couple of times already in the beginning of the year, and I think in the previous couple of Friday live streams as well. I've mentioned the roadmap. We have the latest sort of iteration of this is the dev diary that Robin posted to the forums last week, I think, and it mainly talks about working on several sort of key areas. First of all, being flexibility. So we want to have flexible criteria in the events. We're working on the interface and experience. So we're revamping the 3D environments and the user interface, and then we also want to have a little bit more so in terms of being like a little bit more multidimensional, so we want to have those 3D models in game and other features that sort of enhance the gameplay. So this year is definitely focused on those things mainly. And do you guys have anything to add to that, I guess, from what I've already said and that what's been mentioned by Robin in the forum post recently?
Not really. I think we talked a little bit about the flexible criteria in the last one, how that means we can just, instead of having to pre-make packs and then put an update of the game out with them in, we have the ability to just come up with packs and event requirements on the fly. So that can open up things, make sure the pack's relevant to the event in a way better than we can now. And the stuff to do with challenges, player versus the game, building on that, because that's the new trend really in dot drives over the last year. Is like, there's way more we can do with that. So quite excited to get some of those updates in once we can get that, start making more of a thing of challenges and have them work in more of a sensible way than this bit where you have to collect other cars and then they're taking up space in your garage. Sort of solving that problem properly. Yeah, it's going to be good.
And it's, I'm not actually sure how to phrase this or whether it's I probably should stay off the topic, but I just thought it's worth mentioning in terms of anything kind of roadmap related, that I know it occasionally comes up as a question. Obviously the sort of the team, the sort of top drives team in terms of the size of it determines the kind of the roadmap as it stands at the moment. There's definitely, I think I've mentioned before, Top Drive for us is a forever title, and I think as we get into kind of our plans as a that investment in it is increasing, and so I think there's going to be, behind the scenes, I think there's going to be some interesting things this year just with investments into Top Drives, which I think means kind of the roadmap going forward. I think should just there's the potential to kind of expand and extend.
Those chats right about further. What else? Yeah, we're always talking about it. But we'll only let you know the stuff that is like. But we're always talking about more things beyond that. Yeah.
Yes, and I think
falling off the internet. I'm falling off it.
Yeah, we keep losing you a little bit, Tim, but I think we got the gist of it.
Yeah, I would also say that I think we do have plans to give updates on the roadmap and our plans for the year a little bit perhaps more often than last year, as usually last year these took forms of updates from Robin, who's our game director, that happened roughly every 3 months, I would say. So we've had 2 updates already this year. So we'll see if we can. We want to keep you updated about all of this, and obviously some parts of the work that are going on right now in the game, you will be able to explore them on your own, through testing, and we're planning to roll out, as mentioned in the dev diary, that we're planning to roll out some of the features early to newer players. So this will be a gradual process of having these things put together, and then we'll try to support everything that's coming into the game with developer updates on a regular basis as well. Yes, so next, we're still getting concerns about sound, but I'm not sure what to do, honestly, at this point, because I'm not sure actually, because it looks to me that the microphone is just, or the sound from my laptop is just overpowering all the sound, but I don't know. I'll just try to be as loud as I can and as clear as I can. And so Nux, congrats, you're getting a carbon fiber pack. We're gonna go to the next question from Doggo, and the question is about the pandemic. Hey, can you talk a little bit about how the pandemic has affected how you work together as a team, and you planning to go back to business as usual once it's over, or has it changed the way you work for good? So basically the question is all about how we're working in the pandemic, and has anything changed for us?
So I think you might have mentioned this a little bit, Tim, in the past, but Hutch has always been partially remote working. So we Hutch is sort of the main studio in London has always been 2 days a week with people at home if they want, and then 3 days a week in the office. So we were very sort of geared up for, and that's been from the very, very beginning of Hutch. So it's all our kind of systems and processes and just sort of general sort of work habits have been built around being able to be in the studio, but also be fully functional from home. So it was still a big shock going fully remote, and actually it's probably worth pointing out, because I know this probably varies around the world, but we are 100% remote working at the moment, and we'll just be following general guidance in terms of kind of when that changes. But it wasn't sort of as big a shock to the business as it could have been going completely remote. I'm trying to think of the big changes, really. There's a lot more. I think people's calendars have probably filled up with some of those kind of little anecdotal or sort of impromptu chats that you would have at somebody's desk, or you just pop over, or maybe you have a meeting and then a couple of people just hang around after the meeting to chat about something else. Those sort of little discussions feel like they've almost had to become little meetings in the calendar, which I think is kind of making calendars very busier than they used to be. But no, I think I think for the most part, really looking forward to getting back into the studio when it's, you know, when it's advisable and when it's safe to do so. But we'll have to see. I think there's discussions going on at the moment about actually what, you know, kind of what that question relates to, but are there going to be permanent changes? And I guess the answer is we just don't know yet. But we do really, you know, I'm sure you guys agree, we really value the studio time, the you know, the in-person aspects of work life are a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that because I've joined the company while working from home fully, so it's by now it's gonna be 10 months very soon. Over 9 months now that I've been here, and all this time I've worked from home. So I have to admit that I'm getting sick of it to a certain extent. You know, I'm actually like at the beginning it's fun and games, you know, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna be working from home all the time. This is amazing. But then you just realize that you're missing out on life so much. It's not just going to work. It's all the experience that you have from actually getting there, you know, being with people. And communication works extremely well when you're just next to each other, and it works much worse when you're so far away. But I think that generally, as you John said, that we're pretty well equipped for working from home. You know, and it's been like that for a while, and it only reinforced this lockdown only reinforced our sort of abilities to work from home independently. So that's definitely good.
Yeah, we are going to have there's definitely, I mean, you know, just you know what you're saying, Dimitri, that you've been fully remote since joining Hutch. I found it so surreal at that Koenigsegg 1-1 shoot we did, that I just, you know, we chat a lot, you know, on you know, about work stuff, and you know, work quite a lot since you started, and I honestly, it just hadn't clicked that we hadn't actually met in person yet, and I think we're going to have that, but multiplied by sort of 50 times, kind of, or more when we do get back into the office.
It did feel actually okay, because I've met a few different people from my team as well on that day, but I felt like I've known them for a while, you know. I didn't feel like there was any sort of tension at all, you know. You were just, oh hi, yeah, I know you, yeah, and let's just do this, and we did. So that was interesting, but yeah, there we go.
So you were taller than I thought. So.
Sorry.
You were taller than I thought.
Yes. Yes. Everyone was quite tall, so that's interesting. Anyway, Doggo, thank you for this question. We appreciate you asking this, as I don't think we've had anything like that. Do you have is that seagull attack? We haven't had this question asked for a very long time, so it's good to give a little bit of an update, considering it's been going on for so long now.
Oh man, the magpies are fighting with the seagulls. It's all going on.
You must be living by the sea. That's
you can tell, yeah.
So next question, still sort of around us personally, but the question comes from a user named Chrislar, and the question is: do any of you guys have an account where you play the game like us players? If so, what are your garages like? What's your favorite cars in your garages? So for me, I would say that this was kind of answered during one of those Friday live streams some time ago that I do regularly now. You can see bits of my garage, although it hasn't had any significant additions to it very recently, as just I focus on upgrading things right now. But what about you?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna immediately kind of say that yes, I do have a garage, but it just pales in comparison to Tim and some of the other kind of super dedicated players. And I do that thing that I probably shouldn't, where I just collect all the cars I love. So it's got too many Caterhams and Integrales in it, and some of the kind of quirkier stuff. I love the old kind of American marketing shots from the kind of 70s and 80s. So my collection is very poor in terms of proper kind of top drives tactics. But yeah, Tim, you can. Yeah, how on earth do you describe your collection, Tim?
Well, am I back? I think I fell off the internet again for a little bit. The filtering system is pretty handy. I got 1,229 cars, 51 legendaries. So quite a lot. I worked out on average I had about one car a day. Just to say this again, in case anybody starts worrying again, I have very strict rules for myself, right? I have to play with my own money. I've got my own budget of £20 a month, which I've stuck to since the beginning, and can't use any of the tools to my advantage. Now, one of the things we can do is look up, how a car performs on a certain track, and I will only do that if it's for like prize car benchmarking purposes to share with other players. Anything else, got to figure it out myself. So that's how I roll. I have won a few prize cars, so I know what that's like. Takes a lot of dedication, and you've got to be there for the last few minutes of the event. I said in the prize car showcase last time, my Acura garage is terrible, so I don't have much chance. And so the event came up, and I was like, well, I'll just open one Acura carbon fiber, all right? It might as well. They're new, I don't have any. And 2 epics came out, one carbon fiber, and they were both off-road. And that event had 2 off-roads in it. I was like, wait a minute, it's on suddenly. I have a bunch of gold saved, because I think the real trick is you've got to wait until you're lucky, and then if you get lucky, it's worth putting more resources in to build on that luck. So I opened a few more. They did not go as well. And then I didn't have all the ultra wares to upgrade those epics, which you got to, but the engine action bonus, which one day we'll get rid of. And so I couldn't get a prize car, but I got the tier below.
Have I lost him on the last moment?
It's probably the seagulls attack.
I fell off again.
Wi-Fi.
Seagull attack, yes. But thank you very much, Tim.
No.
Well, Tim, I think we got it right through to that. You just dropped off at the very end.
Yes. So we had everything perfect up until that point.
The finale. Yeah. I didn't get the prize car. That's the main thing.
What is your favorite car in your garage, Tim?
I think I said this before, and I think it's still the same. It's the first ever prize car that I won, which is the Porsche 959 Dakar. It's just great. It looks really cool. It's driving around a roundabout somewhere in the UK in the photo. I've given it a little engine upgrade just to surprise everybody. It's very good going up the hills. You make a lot of points from that win when you can do it. It was the first prize car I won, and yeah, loved playing it ever since. Oh, let's have a look at its stats. Let's have a look. What's ownership? 927 days. Win ratio 89%. Wow, pretty nice. Yeah.
We have a question from the audience from the YouTube chat, which is any update on the upcoming Retune feature? And the answer is nothing's changed since the past few live streams and or Q&As. The Retune will come as part of the bigger sort of upgrade to the engine, or to physics in the game rather, which is sometime into the future. We don't really have any dates at the moment at all. So,
and it will be a one-time retune to adapt to the new physics. It's not like everybody can retune forever now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got 3 carbon fiber pack winners now. And we will go to the 4th question in our list, which is definitely a little bit more focused on the game, but it comes from a user called Nico. And the question is, why our drop rates for premium packs are slightly worse than regular ceramic packs for top rarity cars if premium packs are more expensive than ceramics?
Yeah. That's right. This is getting into the expert top price stuff, especially when a new update comes out, right? Like, it's US cars. But if you go to the US premium, you're very likely to get the new cars. But it is true, they are a bit more expensive than ceramics, and the drop rates of the B and above are lower. So that really, I mean, how's it going to go? What's happening is you are paying a premium for the fact that it's a specialized pack, right? That's what's happening. You want just US cars, okay, you have to pay a little bit extra. And that premium is charged partly in the price and partly in the odds. We could do it all one way, right? We could say, oh no, okay, the odds are like a ceramic, but it's going to cost more now. Or we could say, okay, it'll cost the same as ceramic, but the odds are worse. We could do either of those, and the end result is roughly the same. But I think the way it feels is that either one of those would feel really annoying, right? I mean, imagine the drop rates are even worse. Even if it was the same price as ceramic, I think it would feel worse, even if mathematically it comes out the same. It's like, wait, well, odds of getting a B is now 1 in 15 or something, And similarly, if we wanted to make the odds as good as ceramic, okay, instead of 42,000 cash, maybe it's, I don't know what would have to be, I haven't worked it out, 60,000 or something. You're like, well, I could buy 2 ceramics for this, really? This is... So I don't know, it's a sort of mix, and it feels like it is the right place to be in between. It feels like it should be hard as well, but I've spent millions when an update comes out on the premiums and the ceramics, so I'd buy a mix. And it's pretty strong as a way to get a head start into an update. I think if it was better, it would really be very, very favourable and easy for those players who saved up all that cash. A little bit too easy. So I feel like the balance is about right, and it's just a little bit of each is the best way to do it.
That's fabulous. Thank you very much, Tim. So, Nico, congrats on a Carbon Fiber pack, and I will send you the price shortly. We do have a few more questions coming in from the chat, so people are still asking about the next update. So there is no information we can share about the next update, so we will share it shortly. Well, not shortly, right? Sometime before it launches, of course, but the sort of gap, it can be bigger, can be smaller. So there is nothing to reveal at the moment, but you do keep your eyes on our channels, as this is something that we definitely want you to know if it comes soon. So, but no, nothing. Whether that's the people name different themes, Japanese, German, we have nothing to share at the moment. So just keep your eye peeled. We do have questions about Ferrari, Toyotas. As usual, we should. I think we're just gonna go straight to the next question because it sort of talks about this.
Yeah.
The question is from a user called Rick, and it's about having more models in the game. So we've addressed it multiple times, but people still are asking, so we should talk about this a little bit more. So the question is, we have parts of every car brand with a seemingly random selection of years, versions, and models. Could you tell some more about how you came to the current selection? Is it a choice by the car manufacturer, or is it your selection based on everything a manufacturer has? And as a follow-up question, what's the reasoning for not adding the rest of the cars from the current brands? So I think this will be more to you, John, this one.
Yeah, I think that seemingly random car selection is actually very specifically what's in my head. But no, that actually, joking apart, that was sort of probably in the very early days of Top Drives. It was probably it was sort of myself working with the guys at Evo in terms of kind of putting the list together, or very loose rules, or the kind of the rules that I was taking at that point were a good cross section of the manufacturer's current lineup, and then basically iconic models from the past, and those could be those were both performance or sort of iconic for other reasons. So like the original Beetle and things like that, where it's not going to be a fast car, but it's or the incredible Mahari. It's just a interesting car. If you're looking back through the Citroen's back catalogue. So that was kind of where we started. There's always a bit of a filtering process because the guys at Evo have access to an incredible amount of car data and car imagery, but not absolutely everything. So we would produce an original list based on those sort of principles. That would generally get a kind of a pass by the manufacturer and by Evo, just to kind of from the manufacturer, it's kind of like, are they happy with all these models, licensing all these models? And from Evo, it was kind of like, do they feel like they can source the necessary information for those? So that is where it started. it was a totally new concept for the manufacturer at the time. So the reason why some of them say like Audi have a relatively small selection was just simply the way it was agreed that we sort of start that relationship. They generally they wouldn't ever license more than a handful of their cars into one game, and so this was on a different scale to that. So that's kind of the reason why maybe some manufacturers don't have huge collections. I'd say the process has changed. Actually, it's sort of changing even now. I think we have been involving the community more. So the community has been amazing at producing lists that go way beyond my knowledge of models. Some sort of incredibly sort of rare and unusual stuff. Occasionally that does run into issues with manufacturers, where I think particularly when we get into kind of motorsport field, sometimes there's kind of multiple license holders involved, and for whatever reason we just can't coordinate them to get that particular model. But the community's been fantastic, and now that we've got I'm sure he'll probably sort of join one of these one day, but now that we've got Will, who you might know from the one-to-one shoot, he is now doing an even more involved pass when it comes to each manufacturer. So when we are looking to expand, and I'm not going to name any names because that might give away sort of information about what's coming up. But he is now kind of heavily involved in that process and really trying to kind of do a sort of holistic list of trying to get, pulling together all the sources, including the community work. And I think if anybody's wondering why there's a certain manufacturer that's light, there's no, sort of given the reason, but really in terms of the future, I think just kind of sort of watch this space. We, our intention is to fill out any lineups that are obviously short. We need the manufacturers to be involved in that, but that is the plan really. So sorry, it's a slightly convoluted answer, but it's been a process. It was probably the biggest single risk when we started Top Drives of kind of, is this doable? Can you license 100 cars from one manufacturer into a game? And so that process, started in one place and is still evolving to this day. So
yeah, I would even add a little bit to that. My previous job was, when I first encountered licenses, was with my previous job, which was working for a train simulator. And in train simulator, you obviously have to have real trains, and you have to go to licensees as well of these sort of various, train producers and train lines. And I know from even that experience, some licensees are so easy to work with, and some are extremely difficult to work with. They never get back to you. They don't want to talk to you. They only want one thing or another, and it's difficult to please them. Others will invite you over, and they will be, oh my god, film everything, shoot everything, take recordings of everything you want, just make sure that people know about us. So it's pretty much very similar in the car world as well, with having so many different brands. So there are good reasons usually why we have certain brands and why we don't have others. And I guess to a certain extent this comes down to the car selection as well that you have in the game, especially example with Audi. So this is a sort of a wrap up of the first 5 questions that we've had. So thank you, Rick. You were getting your carbon fiber pack as well. And we have a series of sort of smaller questions that we have drafted answers to as well that we want to talk about with you. Don't forget, you can still ask us questions in the chat section of this live stream. I'm going to have a look at whether we have anything else.
Can I pull out one question quickly, just from further down the list?
Yeah.
Which was just by Lebanese limo service, but seriously, I don't know if anyone really cares at this point, but they would love to see a comeback of the mini descriptions at the bottom of the cards. and I just wanted to add my own big upvote for this. So if Robin's listening, I'm gonna use this as a way of voting for that. They were such a funny. It was like a half feature basically. There were big plans early on to have, potentially a kind of a comment alongside every single car. That sort of didn't quite happen, but there's a good number, probably sort of, I don't know, at least 30-40% of the cars have a comment. And it just fell by the wayside. But some of the comments are just brilliant, and it just gives that little flavour to even quite some of the quite ordinary, what could be quite an ordinary car that pops out of a pack, and it's just some of the little comments are just fantastic by the guys at Evo. Just with their understanding of the car world, it's insightful little comments. So maybe
it's like Burns in there.
Yeah.
It's surprising.
That was one area where it was like, obviously we don't want to, Top Drives is absolutely the game about the love of car, like all cars. So we didn't want to be. There were a few that were edging into maybe being a little bit critical. But no, one day it will reappear. Maybe.
We did actually have a question about this, which I did not include in the main sort of schedule for this live stream, but it was talking about having those main descriptions added, and then actually get feedback from the community. So get all the ideas from the community and see up to us to decide which ones we want to add and have them in the game. So there's clearly quite a lot of interest for those, which to me just reinforces the idea that Top Drive is not just a game about cars; it's a game about everything to do with cars. Absolutely, it's super important. And I hope we can get some leeway and some leverage from this live stream as well, I guess, Johnny. We have a couple of questions from the second section. They're a little bit shorter and a little bit more technical, but the first one we already addressed, which was when is the next update, and the answer was keep an eye on the channels. Nothing we can reveal, and we'll reveal. We will only reveal it when we have something to share with you, and you will be the first to find out. Another question, I think we're gonna look at this one. We'll probably talk about the there was a question about reworking the login system, as in the more technical question, as in a rework to the system where we could use username and password instead of Facebook and Google Play. The answer was fairly simple. If we are to add something, it's not to replace something, so we would keep the same systems that we have. Plus, we already have Facebook and Google Play options, plus the Apple iOS login option for the appropriate devices. So nothing that we're working on currently, at least. So we're happy with how it is at the moment. Let's see. So next question was actually about those mini descriptions. So I'm not going to be looking at that now. Do we want to talk a little bit, maybe Tim? If we want to talk about Moby Dick and similar cars, whether we want to have them back at all, or
Oh yeah, that's right. So there's a whole thing, right, with Top Drives where there's old prize cars, new ones coming in, and we do some reruns, and it's a difficult balance, and I don't think. It would just get out of hand if we were constantly rerunning everything that had ever happened and adding new cars. I think it would be mad. It would be too much. But I do agree that it's true. The Moby Dick is kind of a super crazy outlier. It's very, very good. And if you missed out on it, there's still the monthly challenge and it's got prize cards at the end of it, but they're not as good as that. So I do think there are grounds for some sort of rerun of that. I think it would probably be basically the same format. If there's an Austin you don't own, you can enter a challenge to win that Austin, and then the challenge for the Moby Dick will come back, where if you have those Austins, you can win it. If you already have the Moby Dick, you can't get it again. So I do think that's the one that specifically we should rerun. There is a question about exactly how we run that and when and how do you exclude people. We've got this new challenge system coming in, so we'll get used to how that works and how we're running those challenges for the community, and then I think we'll figure out if there's a way it makes sense to bring it back. I would like to. I do think. I feel like it should be a rolling thing even at that point. Like every year or something, everybody who doesn't have the Moby Dick has a chance to get it. But they probably have to jump through the same hoops of collecting the Austins like in the old days. Even if we've moved to a system where challenges don't work that way, you collect keys, I feel like maybe the Moby Dick could sort of hold on to that bit as a sort of rite of passage for players in their very first year in the game. It's the kind of thing that you try and do. I like that idea. So yeah, we're going to look at it.
I do feel like to a certain extent you want to keep some of the cars stay exclusive as a player. If I have been playing the game for a very long time, for example, there are just some things that I want to keep exclusive for myself because I started gaming so early, and they basically show my sort of status in game to a certain extent. So it's obviously a very careful thing. We need to appreciate the fact that some players just really value those cars for their uniqueness, and then opening it up again is not it might compromise this sort of uniqueness or an exclusivity that these cars might have and value for the players.
Yeah, I know, because like for example the ultra rare Acura NSXT, I got that back in the day when the game had just launched, and after a few weeks we put that as a prize. We didn't even mark in the game which cars were prize cars. I didn't even know I won it, and then we marked the prize cards. I was like, oh, I've got this, and then we never gave it out for years. So that was brilliant to bust out in events, and people were like, wait, what? How have you got that? And then we gave it out as part of the challenge season, and now everybody's got one. I've got two. Yeah, that exclusivity does feel good while it lasts.
We're getting still some questions from the chat about adding a slider in Garage, which I think was asked to me on the Friday live stream last week, but I never managed to answer it because I didn't even know, but I've seen it being asked a couple of times. I think it would be a good addition because it can be a little bit difficult to navigate through all your cars, especially if you have so many of them. Definitely something worth adding. We have, I would say, 2 more questions. Has there been any thought towards producing a monthly calendar or forward projection of events so we can plan out our upgrades and purchases? And the answer was possibly. We're open to it. It may be possible that some things we run in the future will last longer than a week. So obviously this is a part of that, but I don't think there's anything we can reveal right now at all. So it's gonna stay the same way as it is right now. In the future, it's possible, but nothing to say at the moment. We have our priorities right now, which have been sort of described in the dev diary, in the roadmap, and this is a little bit outside of that, I would say. Although I think things like that can change quite quickly, right? If we are, we do sometimes experiment with how many price tiers we have. It's been recently we've did some small experiments with other things. So it's all up to the designers to decide what they want to do. Adding a kilometers per hour option to the game. Have you guys talked about it before? But I think this is
that's an old classic.
Yeah, yes. It was. To be honest, I think it was on the list for launch once, and we still haven't got there. It now starts feeling like this is just such a. Because I think we've said it quite a lot. It just feels like a very lame excuse. It just. And there probably is a simple way of implementing it. I think it's just because we've got all these kind of different mile long drags and 0 to X to 0 races. Obviously we can display the in kilometers now. That's simple, but it's kind of all the race types that we just need to figure out how to handle them, really.
Well, there's another thing, though, that's happened that makes that even less convincing. We've got some new drags in there that are in kilometres.
Oh, yes.
There's some kilometre ones in there. And that's good. It mixes it up. There's different lengths, but it is a bit funny. There is a whole weird thing about rounding and what you would say on the card. Like, so what would happen is, we've got the 0 to 60 sat on there to one decimal place. There are more decimal places. If you convert it to kilometres, well, it's going to change a little bit. And then you're going to have a thing where people work out the MRA of a car and it'll get a slightly different number if they use the kilometres one or the miles one. There's all these sorts of weird little things that happen. Screenshots will look weird. You're like, what is wrong with your car? Oh, you switched to kilometres per hour. Oh, okay. So there's all sorts of weird little niggles that would happen to it. So I don't know if it's definitely a thing we need to do. I guess it's hard for me to imagine that a world where I'm so attached to kilometres per hour is a thing. That's what I expect to see because I'm just used to the miles. I don't know. If you want it, shout about it all the time.
Yeah, I think the vast majority of the world live by kilometers per hour. Actually, miles are quite difficult to understand if you've never actually had to, live with it for any long period of time. So I never actually paid attention to it myself until I realized these are only miles per hour, and then everyone else playing the game uses kilometers per hour, apart from, the UK and USA and a few more countries. But that's interesting. So this is it for my sort of questions that I have prepared in advance. You guys have probably a few more minutes to ask some questions in the chat. So let's focus on that, and then we'll be wrapping up. Skoda, are we planning to add Skoda? I think this shares the same fate as any other brands you guys have mentioned. We don't have anything to say about Skoda at the moment, sadly, although I wouldn't mind to have it there, especially their selection of rally cars. That would be pretty good, like the Fabia or R5. What else? What do we have? I'll open the Facebook chat to see if we have anything in there as well.
There's the old the colour question of super rares versus legendaries. It's been quite similar, especially when new update comes out and you're on the opponent's screen. And you just see you can't see that colour very clearly. If you don't know the cars, it can be quite confusing. I'm going to make a note of that, actually, because we've got this bit where we're redoing the screens and, up-resing the game. There's a moment there to revisit that colour selection. I think it might blow everybody's minds a little bit if we change the colour of legendary, but I don't know. I'm just going to drop a note in there just to make sure we think about that when we're doing that change. So that's a good point.
So Oscar Tron is asking, what cars do you guys drive in real life? I mean, Johnny can probably spend like 2 hours talking about the cars he drives in real life, so you'll need a separate Q&A live stream for that. But yes, I drive a pretty old Honda Civic, which I still really like. I've actually sorted out something for it today. My wing mirrors were not closing properly, so I replaced the shut-off devices in them, so now they close properly, so that's good. But yes, this is what I have. What else do you have?
I don't even have a car. Nothing for me.
I'm actually feeling like a bad parent at the moment to the Caterham because it has been sat in the garage. It's been so cold and so wet. I need a warm-ish spring day to get it out. Put some. I imagine all the tire pressures are all over the place. So it's not just like take it out and go for a drive. It's like take it out, make sure all the tire pressures are right, and then get a little drive in at some point.
We have a question from Larry B. He's saying that he missed the first 30 minutes, and did we answer whether we will be able to defuse or refuse cars that did not upgrade correctly? I'm talking about, I guess they're talking about the Retune feature, but yeah, we kind of mentioned that there's no updates on that, and the Retune feature itself is going to be quite different from the description that Larry has given, so it's going to be a one-off and only available after a significant updates to our physics. Okay. So what do we have left? I think we're gonna wrap it up. So thank you guys for joining. As for what is happening in the top drives in the near future, we have the next Drive series starting today, with a very exciting car, and we're gonna have a episode for that with a review of that car as well on our YouTube channel. Sorry about issues that we've had with the sound today. Strangely, something went wrong with the laptop, so I'll have a look into that, because the previous live streams were all good, but we'll make sure it's a little bit better for the next time. And then we're gonna have the showcase of the new car next week, and then you will see me next Friday as well on the regular Friday live stream. I won't be doing one this time because we've just had one today. There's not much for me to do. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. For the next Q&As, as usual, I will share the announcement on the forums where you should be able to submit your question. I also look through all the Facebook and YouTube comments as well, because I can find some good questions in there. So I do that too. So don't hesitate to leave them if you have them. But yeah, John and Tim, thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks, Dimitri.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, and the monthly challenge as well is going to start this Sunday. You'll see that. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. The mystery manufacturer is challenging players to figure out a one-time pad, code break in time. So keep your eyes on Casey Play for the clue there. See what people can figure out.
Awesome.
There you go.
All right, thank you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Thanks.
Bye.